Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Can you please confirm? Can you see my screen and can you hear me well? Much better. Super good. Hi, Sachin and everyone. Okay, so a sweet morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to this AWS with DevOps Project workshop. And I should say this welcome back again, because in our yesterday's session, like workshop, right, we have discussed a little bit about what is cloud, where is cloud, what was there before the cloud, right? And then also what is DevOps, what is AWS with DevOps, and what is DevOps with AWS. Everything we have discussed in our previous workshop, that meaning yesterday. So those who have missed my workshop yesterday, that was just an introduction. So that workshop is available in NareshIT YouTube. So when you have time, please take your time a little bit and go through it. So today's workshop is completely on the project. All right. And I should say that welcome to Naresh IT Technologies. And those who are new to this, my name is Reyaz, having 18 plus years of experience. I'm a AWS consultant, infra specialist, and also a director for a company with a great expertise on especially AWS, DevOps, and entire IT operations. So that was my quick intro. If you remember yesterday, we have discussed about what is this data center and what is the problem with the data centers, what is cloud and where is cloud, and what is AWS, right? And then why AWS cloud is the best career decision for you, right? Everything, why we should learn AWS, we have discussed clearly, detailedly, right, in yesterday's session. So guys, some people are asking about yesterday's video link. Just go to YouTube, search for Naresh IT channel, and there you can see my previous session. Okay, Irfan? And also quickly, I told you about what is DevOps, right? And DevOps meaning it's a development plus operations, right? And also I will not going deeper onto the theory part today because we need to focus today mainly on the project. So quickly, I want to show you here today's topic would be in yesterday's workshop. I think there was some disturbance with the network. So I just quickly go through what is the difference between monolithic versus microservice, because today's project is completely on serverless. Online, can you please confirm? Do my voice is clear? Clarity is fine? Any disturbances? No, right? Everything is good? Nice. Thank you. All right. So monolithic versus microservice. Yesterday, I was telling a very good, perfect, funny example about the difference between monolithic versus microservice. I'll just tell you the same example so that you can think a little bit more better. All right. So just in case in your house, not in your house, maybe think about some other house, right? If you keep your entire money and jewelry in one place, right? Enter money and jewelry in one place, all important items in one place. You tell me, is it good to keep all those important things in one place? Tell me in the chat. 100% no. So just in case if something happens, just in case any thieves comes, or just in case something happens, your entire money is also gone, your entire jewelry is also gone, entire documents is also gone. So I would say that is a very layman language, in a very common language, monolithic architecture, meaning that. So developers will be developing the application, right? And that application is tightly binding with each other, and then everyone is connected to the single database. Just in case, do you see this in the picture? So you have user interface, business layer, data interface. That meaning all are in the same application. If something goes wrong with user interface or any of this interface here, your entire application is down. So which is tightly coupled, right? So whereas if you take an example, as I said yesterday, if you take a bank, go to HDFC Bank or go to SBI Bank or go to Axis Bank. So I'm not a brand ambassador for anyone here. So I'm just telling that go to any bank. In all the banks, you have different services like internet banking, mobile banking, right? And insurances, credit cards, loans, etc. And do you think, is it good to have the entire services in one application? Just in case, if you have any issues or error in the internet banking service, your entire application will be going down. Your entire application will not work. So for that reason, what we do is, thanks to microservice, what microservice will do is, we will be separating all these things in different services. All right. So just to give a quick intro, I already painted for you just now before the class. Quickly, I'll be telling you what is here the difference between monolithic and then microservice. If you remember, if you take any physical machine, that can be a server or that can be your laptop, that can be anything, right? If you take it, you have a hardware at the bottom. On top of it, you have operating system. And on top of it, you have applications, correct? You have a hardware which consists of all your RAM, hard disk, right? Memory, CPUs, everything will become under the hardware part. And on top of it, you have the operating system. It can be Windows or Linux. And on top of it, you have the applications where you put all your applications here. In this kind of physical machine, right? How many applications is recommended to put? Only one application, because it's not recommended to keep multiple applications to run over here. So now later the evolution has happened like this, that entire this physical machine, what has happened is, if you take the hardware is same here, the operating system is same here, on top of it, we have got a wonderful technology, which is called virtualization. This software will help you. If you install this software on any of your server or a machine, it will form a virtualization layer for you. It will form a virtualization layer. Okay, sir, can you tell me a few examples of these softwares? And most of the people know VMware, right? Or AWS has its own type of virtualization software. So it's an example. So you take any of the software and install this, and that we call it as hypervisor. So wherever you have installed this virtualization layer, so that we call it as hypervisor technically. So what this virtualization layer will do, this virtualization layer will allow you to create virtual machines on top of one single machine. So guys, in the bottom, you have only one machine, one physical machine. But in that physical machine, you can create multiple virtual machines. Multiple virtual machines. Isn't it fantastic? Right? So now, for example, if your customer said that, hey, I need 100 machines. I need 100 machines. Will you go and purchase 100 machines? What do you say, my dear people? Would you go and purchase 100 machines? No. So what we do is, we don't purchase 100 machines because it's expensive, and you need a lot of space and you need a lot of expertise to set up everything. Instead of that, what we can do is, you can create a virtualization layer by installing a virtualization software on your machine, and on top of it, you can create multiple virtual machines. Right? So you understand what is this virtual machine meaning? And virtual machines will similarly act like your server itself. It also has operating system. It also can have applications. So the same thing that it got virtualized here in small piece. The big thing over here got converted into the small piece here. With what? With what? With the virtualization layer concept. And this virtual machine in AWS, we call it as EC2. As I said, as we are doing the project today, right, you should know a little bit about the AWS beforehand, because as we are doing the directed project, it is required to have a little bit of knowledge on the AWS, so that we'll be launching I will be showing you how to launch an EC2 instance, how to connect to it and everything. But this project, this workshop is not mainly focused on AWS part. This project is morely focused on AWS plus DevOps project. So I hope you understand now. In one physical machine, previously we had only one application. In one physical machine, previously you had only one application. But now in one physical machine, you can have multiple virtual machine, and each virtual machine have their own application. So one EC2 here, see, one EC2 contain one application here now. Previously, we had to set up different multiple physical machines. But now here, you don't need to worry about the physical machine, and now you have completely on the virtual machine. And thanks to AWS, that we don't need to worry about the physical machine and how to install virtualization layer. We don't need to worry about all these things. That's the beauty of AWS. AWS will handle the bottom everything here, and he will allow us to create the virtual machines directly in his environment or in his infrastructure. So we have something called AWS Management Console. Using that console, we'll be creating or launching the EC2 instances. These EC2 instances are nothing but a virtual machine. But it's not too good to call as virtual machine in AWS language, so you need to call it as EC2. And EC2 full form is Elastic Compute Cloud. I hope. So now we have moved from physical to virtual now. Okay, that's good. So AWS is giving us provision to go and provision all these EC2 instances. Good. And what is the next evolution happened? The next evolution happened is something completely superb and fantastic. So the next evolution is completely on the microservice. So here we are using the monolithic infrastructure. That meaning in one EC2 instance, you can have only one application. In one EC2 instance, you are having only one application, and which is tightly coupled. So now what we do is, you take one EC2 instance, and this is the EC2 instance. See here that this entire thing has now into the small thing here. Now consider this big EC2 instance. I'm drawing the diagram here. So this is called EC2 here. Inside that one EC2, EC2 itself is a virtual machine. EC2 itself is a fantastic technology. Using virtualization technology, we can, on one physical machine, on top of it, you can create multiple virtual machine. But now the evolution, this technology is like this. In that virtual machine also, in that virtual machine operating system also, you are doing another layer of virtualization. And how we have installed virtualization layer here? Similarly, inside the EC2 instance, we have a software called Docker. So we have the Docker where you need to install here on the EC2 instance. Once you install this Docker, and we call this as a Docker engine. So once you install this Docker engine, this software will allow you to create something called containers. So what are these here? Containers. I think it's better if you say from your mouth, read it, speak it, right? Containers. So this container, each containers have their own application. You see, in previous architecture, one EC2 instance can have only one application. But here, one EC2 now contains multiple application. And this one, thanks to Docker technologies or Docker server or Docker software. So once you install this Docker engine, you are now completely, you can create the application here. And good thing is, you no need operating system here. So this Docker is a very, very, very lightweight. In virtual machine, guys, I'm telling you the difference between these two. In EC2 instance, it occupies a lot of memory space, long boot time, running multiple virtual machines leads to unstable performance for your application, difficult to scale up, low efficiency, and data volumes cannot be shared. Coming to your containers, Docker. This Docker is a fantastic software. So Docker is a software development platform to deploy applications. Applications are packaged in the form of containers that can run any kind of operating systems. And this Docker containers occupy less space, short boot time. Within milliseconds, you can create a Docker container. Whereas if you take EC2, it will take a couple of minutes. Whereas Docker containers, within seconds, you can create it. It has a very short boot time. And containers have better performance than they hosted in a single Docker, as they have hosted in a single engine. And easy to scale up. But you can scale up from 10 to 100 if you want. And high efficiency, easily portable across different platforms, and the data volumes can be shared and reused among multiple containers. And the best thing about the Docker is reducing the dependencies. So guys, here in EC2, we need to install M number of things. Let's say if you want to have a software, you need to install so many dependencies. Let's say you are a DevOps engineer, for example, AWS DevOps engineer, and developer asks you to set up the machine. And you have put a lot of effort and installed many things in that machine. You install Java, you install the Tomcat, you install some libraries, you install that, this, everything. Because if one application wants to run, you need to have a dependencies. That dependencies are some libraries, softwares that definitely should be get installed first in order to have your application to run. But thanks to Docker here, as this Docker will help you to reduce the dependencies. So you can pack everything in one place and use that image to create the containers. So you as a DevOps engineer, you have set up everything in one machine and you have deployed on the development environment. But your customer or your developer asks, hey, please deploy the same setup in my production environment. As we are the human beings, we tend to make mistakes. So what this DevOps engineer does is, in the production environment, he also tried to set up the same thing that how he has set up in the development environment. But as he is a human, he missed one package to install as a part of dependency. Now tell me, in the production environment, will the application will work as there is a missing on the dependency? It will not work. It will not work. So to make it easier, to reduce this dependency, we have a software called Docker. And that's how Docker came into existence. And that's how Docker will help you to reduce the dependencies. I hope this is clear till here. Can you please confirm? CC in the chat. CC represents crystal clear. Cool. So now I have given, I put a little bit effort here to make you understand what is Docker in few minutes. But in our course, we have a separate classes for the Docker itself to make you understand much more better. As I am concentrating today on the project, let us move forward a little bit. So today's project is building a serverless DevOps CI/CD pipeline on AWS with our wonderful service in AWS called ECR, Fargate, and using Code Pipeline. And in this project, as I said yesterday, we are integrating 11 AWS services here. 11 services, right? So that's called a project. Of course, in this workshop, I'll be explaining only one project, but in my course, I'll be doing multiple projects like this. So to make you more engaged in this, so I try to came up with multiple, as many of the services here to integrate for this workshop. So I recommend you to just go ahead and read little bit. Can you say with me, please? You try to read with me. The first one here we have GitHub. GitHub is a source code management. So instead of, now let me take one example. I'll just quickly tell you about this example, quickly about the services. Now let's say you have 3 developers, developer 1, developer 2, and developer 3. They are working in the project. They are working in the project. And where do they develop all the project? In their local laptops? Okay, Nana? They will be developing the projects in their local laptop. And how much time, let's say, for example, they spent 1 month to complete the project, day and night they spent. Developer 1 have their own code with him. Developer 2 also have their own code with her in the local laptops like this. And all of a sudden, one of the developer laptop got crashed. Oh my gosh. That's a really bad, it hurts a lot. Because whatever the code that they have developed for 1 month, day and night, the code got lost. With that being said, is it recommended to keep all your code in your local machine? It is? Answer is no. Online, put it in chat. Let's make very interactive. Of course, you are answering it. No. For that reason, we will keep all this code in the remote location. And that remote location here, we have something called GitHub. Right? So in the GitHub, so because today to work on this project, we need to have one small application, right? That application can be in any kind of application. This can be a static website. It can be a Java application. It can be .NET. It can be Python. It can be Node.js. It can be any kind of application. So let us take today, I'll be taking one small application to make you to deploy. But the process is same. The process is same. Next, coming to the Docker, I just explained you what is Docker. Docker will help you to create the containers, right? And next, okay, see here, listen importantly, because this is very important. Docker, we need to install on one of the EC2 instance. Yes or no? Hey, DevOps, my dear DevOps people, those who have already learned DevOps. What you did, you have launched EC2 instances, and then you have installed Docker engine in it. Correct, my dear people? Yes. So you have installed Docker engine, and you are trying to pull some images from Docker Hub. So those who don't know what is Docker Hub, see, I just told you that in Docker previously, a few minutes back, the Docker will reduce the dependencies. The entire package is in the form of image. That image contains your operating system. So you no need to install this operating system every time. So Docker is having a separate website called Docker Hub. That Docker Hub contains a lot of images which has predefined softwares installed and readily available to you. For example, if you want to install Tomcat, do you need to install Tomcat by yourself in the container? No. You just go and pull Docker image which has a Tomcat Docker image. You want to install Apache. You want to install something else. You want to install something else also. So ready-madely in Docker Hub, you have the images available. You no need to reinvent the wheel again. You no need to reinvent the wheel. Reinvent the wheel meaning you no need to do the same thing again and again, installing stuff. The images are readily available. You just pull that image and create the container from that image. Make sense? Now, to do all these things, of course, that images, where are it stored? In your local machine? Okay, from Docker Hub, see here, from Docker Hub, you have pulled one image. From Docker Hub, you have pulled one image. Should I, okay, let me, explain you with the paint. This is your EC2 instance, Nana. Let's have some fun. This is your EC2. Whoa. This is EC2, and this is Docker Hub. So in the Docker Hub, you have Tomcat images, Apache images, etc. There are so many images are available. So what you do is from this machine, so you need to first of all install the Docker software here. Yes, install the Docker software. What you need to do is pull. What you need to do is pull the image. Pull the image that whatever you have in the Docker Hub. Once you pull, that images will be available in your local machine. You can consider that is a base image. That's a base image. And what you do, you go and install or configure from that image, first create the container. And from that container, you log into the container or due to some different type of technologies, you can configure, install software, set up application, everything in that container. And where are these containers are available now? In your machine. Where are these customized images are available now? In your EC2. Where do you manage all these images and then containers? Inside this EC2. Yes or no, Nana? Online, yes or no? My DevOps people. Are you with me? Yep. Fantastic answers. Right? So, yeah, very good response. So what you need to do is you are managing the images and the containers inside the machine here. Just in case Pusuk, something happened to this machine. I mean, Pusuk meaning just in case. All right. So just in case. So just in case something happened to this machine. What happened? All your Docker images and Docker containers are gone. Agree, everyone? Agree? Give me a minute. You agree, please? Yeah. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Okay, guys. Sorry, there was a call. Okay. So I was saying here that your Docker images and containers are stored here on the EC2 instance. Just in case if something goes wrong here. Just in case if something goes wrong here, your entire Docker images and containers are gone. For that reason, AWS came up with a service called ECS. It's called Elastic Container Service. It's called Elastic Container Service. Using this Elastic Container Service, it's completely serverless. You don't need to maintain the containers. You don't need to do anything there. Nothing. Just maintain the image. And as you are maintaining the image local here, now no need to maintain the images on the EC2 instance. Maintain the image in something called ECR, which is called Elastic Container Registry. So your images are stored here and your containers are running over here serverless completely. Right? So this ECS has two ways to set up. Either you can go with EC2 instances having containers inside it, or there is a service called Fargate. Fargate is a completely serverless service from AWS which hosts your containers. but you don't need to manage those containers. You don't need to worry about the containers. Everything is serverless. So these two are very beautiful services. These two are very beautiful services where we can deploy our containers serverless completely. And then whatever, so this code build, code deploy, code pipeline, all these things are a part of pipeline. So first of all, guys here, first of all here, in order to set up your own image, we need to first have our application, right? We can have an application first. There we create a image, and that image contain all your application inside it. And we need to build that image. If you want to build that image, so you need to have something called code build. And using this build, this image will be deploying to the Fargate or ECS. And how do you access your application? Using load balancer. So load balancer is just a feature. It's not a service in AWS. Using load balancer, you can access your application. And that load balancer supports HTTPS. That means your application should be secure. For that reason, I use here AWS Certificate Manager. And in order to, as my code is in GitHub, I will be connecting from my AWS to GitHub using Secret Manager. So this is one of the powerful service which is used for security purpose. And your entire infrastructure should be within the VPC. So VPC is a virtual private cloud, because in AWS, you know that AWS is a public cloud. So in order to have, right? Yeah, in order to have your entire infrastructure secure, we need to set up the VPC. And don't worry, we already have a default VPC. We'll be using the default VPC. And today, this is the project architecture that we'll be doing. So I'm giving you 1 minute. Just see this architecture for a minute. Then I'll try to explain and we'll start the project. Go through it a little bit. Okay, so I think I gave 1 minute time already for you to go through this. So let me explain this project for you. So this is the important part of this workshop. Please concentrate. All right. See here, everyone. You are here. You are a AWS DevOps engineer. I'm not saying you are a DevOps engineer. You are a AWS DevOps engineer. Because if you know AWS, then only you can do all these things. Yes or no? For how many days will you go and have your Docker setup manually managed by you on the machine, right? So for that reason, you should be knowing AWS, first of all, and then DevOps topics also. Okay, you are here. First, what we do is we'll go and launch one EC2 instance, because we need to create our application. We need to deploy our images. We need to do everything. First of all, we need to have one place in order to run everything by you, right? So first step is, let's go and launch EC2 instance. Listen this carefully. First step is, let's go and launch the EC2 instance, and let's log into the EC2 instance, and then we need to work on the Docker. So for that, we need to install the Docker engine on the machine. Listen carefully, Nana. Right? We will be installing the Docker engine here. And on top of it, where is your application stored? As I told you, I have introduced you GitHub, right? So inside this GitHub, I have my application readily available. So do not worry about that application because that application will be developed by developers. So make sure that that application is there in the GitHub. So what we do is from this GitHub using secret manager, or else secret manager will become later. So using this GitHub, we will pull that project or we'll clone that project inside the machine. So now I have the Docker engine readily installed and then Git also readily installed because I want Git here because I need to pull my project over here, the code here. So on the EC2 instance, two softwares needs to be installed. Number one is Docker and number two is Git. So Docker is required for us to create the image from the application, right? So we need to have that application inside the image, and Git is required to get the raw code inside the EC2 instance. This step number one is clear? Online, please. Let's go like babies. Put it in the chat. Fantastic. Cool. Very good. You're doing great. See. So we'll be installing two things, Docker and then Git. And Docker will help you to create the image and Git will help you to get the source code here in the machine. Good. And then what we do is, let me open this. Do not worry about all these things. Okay, see. We have very, very important thing to make you understand a little bit more about Docker. See here, you can create the images in two ways. Remember this, you can create the Docker images in two ways. Either first thing is you can pull from the Docker Hub. What is it, Anna? Pull from the Docker. You can pull the images which are in the Docker Hub. That is one way you can get the image. Second way is you can create the image using something called Docker file. Online, put it in the chat. What is that? Docker file. So now we already have a Docker file. So I will not be going deeper into the Docker file because we need to do the project here. So let's go with the Docker file, which has little bit information inside it. Using the Docker file, we will be creating a image. So once you have a Docker file, what you need to do? You need to build it. We need to build it. So once you have a Docker file, what we need to do? We need to build it. That is very important point. So from the Docker file, you need to build first. Once you build, you get an image here readily available. Where from the Docker file, you get the image. Understood, Nana? And inside this Docker file, I'll be telling that, hey, get the application. I have my application readily available, the raw code. I'll tell that take this application and this Docker file, create the image. And what does this image contain? My application here. Understood? So two ways to create images. One is you can pull the image from the Docker Hub. And second way is you can create your own. You can build your own image using Docker file. So we will instruct the Docker file that what exactly he need to do. Using that, we build it and we'll get the Docker image. Now, as I have a Docker image readily available and I have application also inside the Docker image, I can push that Docker image to Docker Hub. I can push it to keep it safe. And also using this Docker image, I can run the containers. And finally, what I have the container here, I have the container and inside that I have my own application running. Because this container is created from the image and this image is created from the Docker file. How does the Docker file knows our application? We will instruct the Docker file to take our application. And it's not good to keep the Docker image in your EC2 instance. For that reason, we'll push it to Docker Hub. But we are not using Docker Hub here. Instead of that, we are using something called, as I told you, ECR, which is in AWS, Elastic Container Registry. Is it clear here? Now, oopsie, just a second. Sharing is gone. Okay. So See here, now instead of maintaining these containers on your EC2 instance, now I will be maintaining this to EC, yes, Elastic Container Service. I don't want here the containers. I don't want to manage this. I will be managing using ECS. Nana, you understand this? This flow you understand? Nana, understand online? Fantastic. Good, Nana. Quickly, I'll recap here because how much good you understand this flow, based on that, the project will be very easy. Okay. So here, Nana. So in my EC2 instance, I have my application running. I mean, application raw code is there. I'll be creating a Docker file and I'll instruct to the Docker file, hey, Docker file, take the application. And Docker file knows where is your application. And this Docker file will be built first. Once this using Docker file, if we build it, a Docker image will be created. What does this Docker image contain? This application, because we have built using Docker file. So now this Docker image, I don't want this Docker image which I am having my actual application. I don't want to sit it in the local machine. I want to push it to ECR. My Docker image is safely available in ECR now. Now I don't want to create the containers on the local machine. I want to create the containers in ECS. So now I don't want all these things set up anymore. So directly from ECR, I have the image. I'll create the ECS containers there. So that's the same thing. I have put it over here. Okay, now you understand the project. See. So we will launching the EC2 instance. Inside that, we'll say install Docker and Git. And then from this, we will get the raw code onto the machine using GitHub. And then we'll create using Docker file, we'll create a image that will sit in the ECR registry. And then we'll go to ECS and we'll create a cluster. And while creating cluster, we need to create a task definition first, because this ECS cluster will create the containers inside the Fargate, because these containers need the information how it should look like. So for that, and it uses the task definition, and then we will create the containers here. And once the tasks are created, and this task has the IP address, is it good that clients connect to your application using the IP address? No. For that reason, we will create a service, and the service will be attached to the load balancer. And this load balancer should be very secure. For that reason, I'll be attaching one certificate, HTTPS certificate, to the load balancer. That is optional, but you can do. And whatever the logs, whatever that you're doing, any errors, any issues, all the logs, you can put it either in a bucket or you can put it in the CloudWatch logs. And anytime you can create alarms for the notification purpose. This architecture is clear online. CC please, online, everyone. Fantastic. Very good, yeah? Very good. I was expecting that, this is little bit high level, right? Because you should know little bit of AWS and DevOps already, right? But still, no problem, because as this is the project that we will be doing. So, okay, I'll go with one more time. Okay, one more time. Chittis, one more time. See here. So I'll be telling step by step. You need to tell me, right? Yes, we'll be using Route 53 also. I didn't put it here, Naresh. Okay, see here. I'll tell you one step by step. You should tell me yes or no. Okay, I'll be asking in the chat. Everyone should respond. First, what is the first step? We will go and launch the EC2 instance inside it. We will launching EC2 instance, log into the EC2 instance and install Docker and then Git. Point number one, clear? Please put CC. Okay, yes, put yes or CC something. Next one, we'll log in. So once we install Docker and Git, where is your raw code? Where is your application? In the GitHub. So we will clone that repository into this EC2 instance. That meaning my application is in the EC2 instance now. Okay? Good. Now, I will create a Docker file inside this, and I'll tell, hey, Docker file, I have the application here on the EC2 instance. Use that application and create a image. Clear? that image will be sitting first locally on the EC2 instance. Okay. Now it is not good to keep my Docker image in the EC2 instance. I need to push it to where? I need to push it to where? ECR. Very good. So where is your image now? Inside the ECR. That is number one. Then our image is ready. We need to create the containers now using that image. For that reason, in AWS, we'll go to which service? ECS, Elastic Container Service. We will go to ECS. And then inside that ECS, we'll create one cluster. Inside the cluster, first of all, we need to create one task definition. Task definition, you can think like a template. Task definition is like a template, because how does the containers knows that it has to get an application? Because that using this task definition, containers will get created, because this task definition contains the entire information. Once you could create a task definition, inside the cluster, we will create something called task. This task will create the containers. I'm repeating, ECS cluster we need to create first. Inside the ECS cluster, we need to create a task definition next. Next, we need to create task. Once you create the task, Fargate containers will get created. That meaning this task contain the information about application, and that entire task will contain the application inside it. Now these applications need to be exposed to the internet. How? It cannot expose because it is having their own IP addresses. For that reason, I'll create one service. And that service is exposed to the load balancer. And these customers will be accessing my load balancer. And here, what we do is, instead of this, here I'll put one more service which is called Route 53. Using Route 53, I will give a nice name to our application. And this entire process will get automated using code pipeline here. Now it is clear. Don't worry, this is just a let's start the project, you'll understand more. But you see that without any proper knowing about AWS, without proper knowing about DevOps, you are learning this project, which is really good. But if you are able to understand, that is even super good. But it is, and dear people, see everyone, it is good to learn AWS and DevOps, and then this project will be done generally. But if you are able to understand now itself, it is super good. Out of 100%, if you understand 70% also, it's good. Okay, Nana? Should we go ahead and do the project now? Are you ready? Everyone. Super. Very good. Let's go. You tell me what is the first step. First step is to go in and launch the EC2 instance or not? Let's go and launch EC2 instance. So I have already logged into AWS. I hope everyone knows AWS. I mean, if you don't know, and by the way, if you don't know, you know, on Monday, I'm starting a new batch, 7:30 p.m. So if you are super interested, so please contact here in the chat, right? And then you can join that course, which has AWS and the DevOps there. Okay, Faizan is asking, what in the task, what exactly you're doing? That task contain containers, Faizan. In the task definition, we are telling that which kind of containers that we will be using it and from where we will be using it. In the task definition, we'll be mentioning the image. Where is the image? The image is in ECR, right? And how your container memory allocations, everything will be done in the task. Faizan, okay? Okay, Nana, let's go ahead and launch EC2 instance. Let's go and launch instance here. First, Raj, first let's complete this and then I'll go for CI/CD. Okay, let's complete the task. Let's complete this part. This part. Then the second part will be how to automate the entire deployment is through CI/CD. Okay, so let's go with Docker. So I'm launching a Docker instance. I'm going for Amazon Linux 2. I think here most of you, I think most 50% are all my students only. How many of you my students already? Here in the chat. Put it in yes or put the thumb symbol in WebEx. Meanwhile, I launch. Ooh. Gita, nothing Gita, nothing is required. This is a high level of doing the project, no? So nothing is required to learn. There are some people, I wish I want to be your student. Huh? Very good, Naresh. Why not? Why not, Nana? Okay, so I'm launching the EC2 instance here, but I'm telling you again and again, um, as this is the high level of doing the project, Nana, because for this, the prerequisite to do this, to understand this workshop, you should be always knowing, you will be knowing, before that, you should be knowing AWS. But if you're new to this workshop, don't worry, my batch is starting at 7:30 p.m. So please contact Naresh IT and we can rock there. Okay, enable security group. Do not worry about what I'm selecting because let's go and launch. Because in that AWS DevOps class, I'll be teaching you what are all these EC2 instances, how many steps are there, etc., etc. Deeperly, we'll be learning here, there in our separate course. But let us go ahead and then. Okay, so we have our admin here, Mr. Arif. Just now he messaged in the chat. So take his number, WhatsApp him for more information. Okay, Chiti, I'm using Mobile Extreme, which is everyone's favorite, to connect to our EC2 instance. Let's wait until this is running a little bit. Let's give some time. I'll put it here. Oh, wait, what is the default username? EC2 minus user. And then I'm just connecting it. There are multiple ways also to connect. So this is a very okay. Now let's do the project. Okay. So let's elevate the permissions sudo minus I. Okay, Chiti. So guys, what is the first step? We need to install the Docker, right? You keep on telling me, I'll be doing it. You need to first install the Docker. What is the command to install? Yum install Docker minus Y. So this command will install you the Docker engine. After that, what is the thing that we need to install? What is another software? Git. Very good. So how to install Git? Yum install minus Y Git. Okay. So two softwares are required for us to do this project. So two softwares are done. Should we do a few commands with Docker, Nana? Should I teach you a little bit of Docker? Anyways, you're listening nicely. Should I teach you a little bit of Docker? Actually, I can directly go ahead and then show you the project, but I'm more concerned on you. So I just give a little bit more information of the Docker, right? So here, as we have installed Docker, first see, we need to see, if you get an error, you should not get scared. Now it clearly says, if you go and type Docker images command, it shows that, hey Babu, your Docker service is not running. So what we need to do first, we need to start the service, Docker service. No, what's the command? Service Docker start. So we have started the Docker service. Anyways, in YouTube, this recording will be there. So you can see the commands one by one later. So I'll just keep on going it. Okay. So service Docker start. Now go ahead and search for, do we have any images or not? Just now we have installed Docker. Do we have any images here? No. Okay. Now let's take one small example. You tell me, where are the images are stored by default from Docker? Which place is that? Docker Hub. Which one? Docker Hub. So if you go to Docker Hub here, for example, go to Google and just type up our Docker Hub. Go to Docker Hub. If you go to Docker Hub and you can go and search. Let's say you want to install Tomcat. You want to have an image. See, Tomcat image is available. Tomcat image is available. See, what is the command to get your Tomcat image? Docker pull, right? Docker pull. So any kind of software, any kind of images that you want, you can just go ahead and put. And there is also a small web server called Nginx. And do you see Nginx is also there? And what is the command to pull the Nginx image? Docker pull. Should we go and pull it once? Docker pull. Which one? Nginx. Let's pull. See, now it is connecting to the Docker Hub and it is trying to pull it. See, it is pulling, pulled. And what is the command to see the image in our local? Docker images. Docker image. Do you see it here, Nana? So there is a Docker image already. We got it in our local machine. Got it? So you can pull any kind of images. Okay, now we have the image here. Using this image, now Docker image came. From this Docker image, what we can create? We can create what? Container. So how do you create the container here? So there is a command to create the container. Okay, so what's the command? Docker run our image name. See it here? Docker run Nginx. So when you use Docker run Nginx, it is creating the container. But do you see this? Can I use the terminal here? I cannot use because it is running in front of our eyes. If I see Control C, my container got exited. Is it good to use Docker run Nginx? No. See here, I'm clearing it. So now, how to check what is the command to see the containers? Docker ps-a. So Docker ps-a will help you to list the containers. So do you see this? There is already one container created with which image? Nginx image, but the status is in which mode, Nana? Exited mode. Whenever it is in exited mode, this container cannot be used. That means it is a bad container, for example. So is it good to keep this container in our machine? No. So should we go and remove this container? What is the command to remove container? Docker rm and then container ID. Do you see container ID? Boom. And then if you go into Docker ps-a, there is no container. So Chitti, you tell me, is it good to use Docker run and Nginx? No, because we want to run this container in the backend. So for that reason, we will use Docker run -d -d or -d. So Docker run -d and then Nginx. -d represents detach mode. See now, container got created and I see Docker ps-a. And do you see this? My container is created, but what is the status? It says up for 4 seconds here, since 4 seconds. So my container is created now. Everyone understood from the image how to pull the image and how to create an image, how to create a container? City Online, yes, everyone? My people? Nice, Nana. Good. Let's go slowly. Let's go slowly. Okay. So now we created the container. Good. But can I use this container, Nana? From outside? Now I have Nginx application running inside this container, right? How do I access my container? I mean, how do I access my application inside the container? For that reason, right? Okay, I'll show you quickly how to stop the container also. You tell me. Now you tell me. My container is running. How to stop the container? Docker stop and container ID. I stopped. See? Docker ps-a. Now it is in which state? Exist state. So can I start the container again? Yes. What is the command? Docker start container. Do you see? ps-a. Again it started. How to stop it again? I don't think I'm playing. So stop it. And how to remove the container completely? Docker, what's the command? Docker RM. Very good. Docker RM and put the container ID. Now Docker PS minus A, there are no containers. CTD, everyone understood how to play with the containers? How to stop, start, remove containers? Yes. And what is the command to list the images? Docker images. So see here, we have the Nginx image. Should we go and delete that Nginx image also? What's the command to delete the image? Docker RMI and give the image name. See, that is also gone. If I do Docker images, no images. See, everyone understood how to pull the image, how to create a containers, how to stop, start, remove images, containers, everyone? Okay. 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 So now again, I'll try to pull Nginx, and this time we will try to access that Nginx application from the browser. Okay. First, do we have any images? No. Should we go and pull the image again? Docker pull, where in a Nginx. So it is connecting to the Docker hub in the backend, and it is pulling the image. It pulled. It's pulled. Okay. Pulled. And you tell me what is the command to run the container? But this time, what I do is I'll run the container and I'll expose the port. Until you expose the port, you cannot access the application from outside. So this time I'm using a command here called docker run is to create the container. Sitting here -p. -p represent port. On which port you want to expose? Port 80. So the first 80 represents instance port and the second 80 represent the container port. Okay, and the -d. -d represents in detached mode. From which image you want to create this container? Nginx. Nana, everyone understood? Now this command will help you to create the container. This command will help you to create the container in detached mode and exposed with the port called 80. Let's do docker ps -a. CGT here, everyone. So my container are created and then it is exposed on which port number? 80. So now let's go see how this is a Docker instance, right? Copy this public IP and put it here. Enter. And do you see this here? Our application is running. It says welcome to Nginx. So that meaning our application is running beautifully on the container now. This set is clear, Chitty, everyone, till here? Is clear? Super, Nana. Super. Very good. But is this, but we need to do. So I just showed you the little bit basic about the Docker, but is this a way that we need to have our own application or not? Chitty, yes or no? We need to have our own application, right? I don't want an Nginx application. I want to have my own application. For that reason, what we do? We need to create our own image or not? Voice is breaking. Can you hear me? Can you hear me well? Okay, Nana. Good. So here, tell me how to stop this container. I don't want this container. So Docker, right? Docker stop and this container ready. I'm stopping it. And what I'm doing, I am removing it. I don't want this container. Good. So Docker ps -a. Good, Nana. Okay. This is clear. I told you the basic things about, right? Docker. Now I have Nginx which is pulled from the Docker hub. But I don't want Nginx application. I want to have my own application. So from this point of time, our project will start. Listen carefully. Okay. From here, our project will start, Nana. So how to deploy a real application in our container? How to deploy our real application in our container? See here, there are two ways to create the image. I told you. One is to pull the image from the Docker hub. To pull the image from the Docker hub. But Docker hub contains our application. Tell me, Nana. Does the Docker hub contain our own application? No. So we will be not be using our Docker Hub now. We will need to create our own image. I told you we will be using Docker file to create our own image. And that Docker file needs to have our application, right? So for that reason, we need to have our application. Do we have any application here in the moment? No. So let us go and where is our application? My application is in the GitHub. Where is my application today? In the GitHub. So now let us go copy this URL and then let me get that code here on my machine. What's the command? Git clone. Oh, what's that? Git clone and then this one. Okay. Now if I do ls, do you see this workshop is there? So this is my website. Do you see my application code is ready here? Today online, my application code is ready. Yes, my application code is ready here now. Very good. So now ls, do you see my application code is ready? And inside that also, I have created one Docker file. Nana. See, I'm telling you what is the Docker file contains. Simple. See, it is using, okay, see, vi Docker file. Okay, I have 3 lines of Docker file. Don't worry about this because in our separate class, we'll be talking about in the DevOps class, we'll be talking more about Docker file, what does instructions it contains. But now it uses a command called from, and it is using the base image called nginx, which is latest. And we are using what? Copy dot meaning city here, current directory. City here, see, in this current directory, I have all my, I have all my entire application details are there or not? My files are there or not? Yes. So this is all the files will be copied into the container. Inside this container, USR share nginx HTML folder is there, no directory. So whatever the application that I have in my local current directory, in the container, in this place, that will be copied. Because in this Docker file, using Docker file only, Docker image will get created. From that Docker image only, the container will get created. So that meaning I am keeping my image ready with my application using this command. So now I'm exposing this using which port number? 80. This Docker file is clear, everyone? Docker file is clear, Nana? Everyone? So first one is, it is using from Docker Hub, it is base image it is using, and you're copying the entire application in the current directory to this location, right? This folder, this directory is a nginx default directory. See here, if you want to listen my class, you should be in the same conference meeting or not? Yes or no? If you want to listen my offline class, you need to come and sit in my same room. So here also, nginx has this default directory, right? Nginx has a default directory. If you put the application in that directory, then only nginx will consider that is a application. If you go and put it in /temp/var or some other directory, nginx doesn't know where is the application. So this is the nginx path, directory path, which it will understand, right? Which will understand where is your application is. So now my Docker file is ready. Now using this Docker file, what I need to create? I need to create a image or not? Using this Docker file, I need to create an image. What is the command to create an image? Docker build -t for tagging purpose, and I'm tagging my image as website latest. Guys, this is the command to go ahead and then create a image. Before this command, I'm not executing it. Before that, do I see? I go and put the Docker images. Do we have any image here? Okay, let me delete this image also. Docker RMI nginx. This is an old image, no? Delete it. Deleted. Okay. Now see it here. Do we have any images here at the moment? Yes or no? No images. So should we go and then create an image using our Docker file? What's the command? Docker build -t website latest. What it says? Oh, sorry. So we need to use dot right here. How can I forget that? So this build will be using, where is the Docker file, Chiti? ls. Do you see? We have the Docker file, right? We are telling, hey, Docker, build my image based on the Docker file. So we need to mention the Docker file, right? So that Docker file represent here, dot represent where is the Docker file. Now see. See. Now my image is getting created. See. My image is ready, Nana, here. Now let's go and put Docker images. Do you see? My image is ready. My website image is ready. Whatever, see, whatever the index.htmls, all the CSS, JavaScript, everything, whatever I have, now my entire application is in my image now. Okay, now tell me, using this image, can I go and create a container now? Using this image, can we go and create a container now? Tell me, Docker run. Yes, Raj. Docker run -t detach mode, right? And then -p. I need to expose using port 80. And then what is our image name? Website. See, done. What's the command to list the containers? See, guys, here now my container got deployed and my application also got deployed. Should I go and use it now? Should I take the IP address here and then try it out? Okay, you also try it out. I'm just putting to everyone. Let's see whether it works or not. It works for you? I have the network issue here. It's there and I enable all traffic. So all traffic is there, but see, due to some problem for me, okay, it's all one. Oh yeah, it's loading. Do you see this? It's working. Do you see this here? So this is a sample application that I'm putting here, right? Do you see? Now our application is running on container. This is one part. Is this clear till here, everyone? Nice website, no? Clear, Chiti, everyone? Okay, Nana. Okay, so now, see here. Now we have the content. Tell me, where is the image in my EC2 instance? Right? Where is the image? Chiti, where is the image? On my EC2 instance. Where is the container? On my EC2 instance. On my EC2 instance. Now tell me, my image is in the EC2 instance here. Just in case if I terminate the EC2 instance, my image is gone or not? Chiti, yes or no? My image is gone or not? My image is gone. Everyone online? My image is gone. You tell me now, where should I keep this image now? In our AWS. Anyone? Fantastic answer. That meaning you are understanding my project. Huh? ECR, which is that? ECR, Elastic Container Registry. So what we do first, should we go and push this image to ECR and keep it safe? Let's do Nana. So let's go to first our ECR. Go to ECR. I'm going very slow. It's fine, right? It's fine, Naina. Everyone, it's fine, right? So yeah. So let's go to the ECR and click on create repository. And here I call it as website. You can give any name. You can give any name. I'm calling it as website. Just go ahead and then create it. See here. So here I created a repository called website. And clearly, if you click on view push commands, AWS is giving you direct commands to execute. Chiti, see the logic here. I am on my EC2 instance. I am on my EC2 instance. Does this EC2 instance has permission to push the image to ECR? No, because what is inside the EC2 instance, how does AWS will have the permissions? For that reason, so we need to create something called a role. We need to create something called a role. So let's go and create role. So what is IAM, what is role? I cannot talk about this now because that I will be talking a lot in our dedicated course. But for now, I'm just going and then creating a role. To whom you're attaching here the role EC2. Click on next. And here you need to select the permissions here, which is called EC2 container registry full access, right? Power user also. I'm just going for this too and call it as workshop role. Give some name. Create role. And this role need to be attached to the EC2 instance. Let's go to EC2 instance. How to attach the role, my people? So go to security, modify IAM role, and here call it as workshop role. So now what we do, let's execute one by one command. See, we have the ECR, right? Inside the ECR, do we have any images, Chitty, here? Inside the ECR, do we have any images? No images. So let us now authenticate. So the first command is to authenticate, Nana. So I'm just going here and then pasting this command. So let's see whether we are authenticating or not. See, it says login succeeded. That meaning from this machine you are authenticated to ECR. Okay, good. Next, again you are building the Docker build -t website. So again you are building the image. Good. Next here we have something called tagging. So you are tagging the image. So what is the current Docker images? See, Docker images. If you see Docker images, now it is tagged as a website. Name is a website and tagged as latest. But now we will tag it little bit differently. See. Now I do here Docker images. Do you see there is also one more image got created here and it is tagged as latest. So this is the image name. Good. Now what we do, finally push this image to where? To our ECR, Docker push. Sai Gopi is asking, sir, why can't we store image in Docker Hub? Here today concept is not DevOps. I'm talking about AWS with DevOps. Understood? So I don't want to use any external tools or services. We will be purely using AWS DevOps. Okay, now we have pushed. If I refresh, do you see the image will be here? Oh, do you see this image? Now this image is here in our AWS. You understand ECR part? How to pushing the image? Online, Nana? Everyone? Super nice. Okay. Good. So we have pushed the image. Now, yeah. See here, guys. Now I don't have image here, but let us, right? So do you see this here? I have the container here. You tell me, is it good to have the container on the EC2 instance? What is your answer? Yes or no? Is it good to have the container managed in the EC2 instance by yourself? No. Let us go serverless completely. I don't want this machine anymore. I will be going serverless. I don't want to have my containers on the EC2 instance. Let's go to which service? ECS. Let's go to which service? ECS, Elastic Container Service. Let's go to ECS. Okay, Chitty. Let's go one by one now. Let's go and create a cluster. And I'm using Mumbai region. Let's go and create a cluster. So what is the name of the cluster? I'm just saying as demo cluster. In this demo cluster, an infrastructure, listen carefully. We have two things here. I told you, AWS Fargate, Amazon EC2 instances. You want to manage containers on EC2 instances or you want to go serverless completely? You tell me. Which one will go? Serverless completely. Serverless completely. Correct? So let's go completely serverless. Instead of going, if you select EC2, what will happen? Again, EC2 instance will be launched and managed by this ECRs. So let us go completely serverless. And then if you want monitoring, enable it. Encryption, enable it if you want. Otherwise, just go ahead and create the cluster. Okay. So what we did here as per the project. So this step is done, Chitty. This step is done. And this step is also done. And here we went and created a cluster. After that, what we need to create? What we need to create? Task definition. So here on the left side, here on the left side, we have task definition. Let us go and create a task definition. Create new task. Call the name. You can give any name. Let's say website task definition. And launch type is, we are using Fargate or EC2? Fargate. Let's go with the Fargate. And then here, operating system will go with the Linux. And CPUs, I go with the little bit small, so that because we don't get more bill. Yeah. Yes, you can. Saigopi. Task role, give some role here. And do you see this here? See it here. I am creating a task definition. Task definition is like a template. Template for whom? To the containers. So using task definition only, containers will get created. That means we need to give the name of our container or not. We give the name of the container. And what is the image that the container should use? The task should use the image. Do you see this here? And this is the URI. Copy this URI and paste it here. Okay. Container work on port 80. All these things is fine. All this is fine. Resource allocation. If you want resource allocation, you can go for it. And logging. So I'm using this CloudWatch logs. So you can just enable, keep this, all these things default. And guys, if you know more about Docker, you can give additional information about all these things, but I'm not going. You can create multiple containers. Ephemeral storage is fine, and this is fine. I'm just going and click on create task definition. So my task definition is ready. My task definition is ready. As my task definition is ready, what we need to do, we need to go ahead and create the task here. Do you see? Go to the cluster, demo cluster. Inside this, we have services task. First, we need to create what? First, we need to create what here? We need to create the tasks. What we need to create? Task. Once the tasks are ready here, how many ever you want, then we'll create a service. So let's go and create a task here. Run new task. Are there any tasks running here at the moment? No task. Run new task. Under which cluster? Demo cluster. Select launch type, and we are using Fargate. Carefully select application type. Is it service or task? Let's go with the task. And what is the task definition that just now we created? Website task definition. And how many that you want to run the task at the moment? 4. 2. It's up to you. Here you have 4, but I'm just going for 2. Task group, you can give some name, no problem. Okay. In networking, you know my students already before. I don't want to go for 1C in Mumbai. So let's go with only 1A, 1B. And security group is this. Networking is fine. Volumes, it's okay. Task override, I don't do anything here. Or container overrides. That's it. I just go ahead and click on create task. And what this task will do? How many tasks will run here now? So do you see? 2 tasks got provisioning. Now let's wait for a few seconds, and you have your task which has containers inside it running with our application. Let's wait for a minute. Do you see this here? It's running or not? Running or not? Yes, 2 replica, Raj. Yes. And do you see this here? Go inside this task and you see the IP address, public IP address. It's our wish whether we can enable or not. Copy this and then put it here. Whoa, put it here. Do you see this running or not? Yes, now I'm not using the containers anywhere. Now I'm using containers in ECS. It's completely serverless or not? Now my containers are working. But the question for you here is, Chitty, the question for you is, right? So here, question here is, do you see this here? Is it good to give the IP address to the customer? You tell me. Is it good to give the IP address to the customer? Answer is no. For that reason, task got created. How many tasks that you want, you can go and get it, right? So inside this one container, you have the task running. And do you see this here? Is it good to use IP address, or let's go and create a service? Let's go and create a service. So go to clusters, go to demo cluster, and till now we are using task. Let us expose this to the service. Before creating the service, we need to have the load balancer or not? And we need to have a target groups or not? Those who know already AWS, right? So those who don't know AWS, just continue it, because this is not the time to talk about all these things now here. So I'm just going for the target group first. And here I'm going for not instances. We have what? Tasks running with IP address. So I select IP address here, call it as ECS target group, right? And keep it / only. Click on next and just create target group. After this, what we need to create? We need to create a load balancer. Create a load balancer. And then you tell me which is the load balancer, my previous students. Which is the load balancer we should be using it? Application load balancer, because I told you application load balancer will be well suited with the microservices. So go with here, call it as ECS ELB. You can give any name. Internet facing 1A, 1B. You know all these things, my previous. And I just go with the ECS here and just go ahead and then create load balancer. So as per this project, do you see this here? As per this project, we have set up all these things. And then now we want to expose our application to the users. For that, we are creating a service here. And this, so just now we created a load balancer. And now we need to go and create a service, attach this load balancer to the service. Okay, let's go to service. Where we should I go now? I go to the ECS, and in services here, Nana. Demo cluster, services, create a service. Carefully see. Launch type, we need to select Fargate. Which one we need to select? Service or task? Service. Which family? This family. Service name, give any name. How many replicas you need? How many replicas? It's up to you. You can go how many ever based on your audience. You can go for it. Number of tasks I'm putting here. Service connect is not required. Service discovery is also not required. In networking, you know, I don't want to go with 1C. Carefully. In load balancing, we have a load balancer or not? Which type? Application load balancer. And we already have a container running with here. Excuse me. Use existing load balancer. Do you see we have created a load balancer ECS ELB? And then we already created one listener. And we already created one target group. Select all those things. And do you see auto scaling? That meaning, just in case now, I'll be giving the URL to you. So if everyone started accessing it, my 2 tasks are sufficient here. 2 tasks or 3 tasks are not sufficient. For that reason, I'm just going for the auto scaling. How many minimum tasks you should be running? Let's say 3 tasks or 2 tasks, right? How many maximum tasks? 10. Okay. That meaning it will scale out to 10. So give some name, group. And I'm putting here ECS service average CPU utilization. That meaning, hey, my average CPU utilization is less than, let's say, for example, if my target value is 30%, for example, that meaning if the CPU utilization is going greater than 30%, automatically number of tasks will get automatically scaled out. So I'm just going for this. Volumes also, that's fine. Okay, so I'm ready. Let's go and click on create. So now its replicas are getting created 0/3 because we have given 3 tasks now. So let's wait until this is running. And do you see this here? The previous manually we created a task, 2 tasks. If I refresh, automatically I should get. Do you see? One more task getting created here. How many tasks extra we'll be creating? 3 tasks because in service we have given 3. Let's wait. See, automatically everything should be up and running. See, slowly this is getting vanished. Go to the task. It's activating. See, see here. So this service is attached to the load balancer or not? While creating a service, we have selected a task. Yes, correct. Service. So this service will go and create the task. So let's refresh. Okay, now it went here. And do you see this? How many see this provisioning or not? It's active already. So what I do, I have my load balancer or not. So let's say our load balancer is active or not. My load balancer also active. Chitty, do you see this here? We have the DNS name of the load balancer. Select the DNS name of the load balancer and let's try to access with the load balancer now. Whoa, everyone try to access the load balancer. Is working for you? Fantastic. So we have deployed our application. We have everyone. Will you able to access? Are you able to access everyone? Copy paste. Yes. Cool. So here now I have my application running on ECS with ECR completely serverless, and also we have auto scaling on top of it. Now, Chitty, now, is it good to give this URL to customer? That nasty is ECS ELB dash blah 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 blah. No. So for that need, we need to do a little bit of makeup for that. So for that, there is a service in AWS which is called Route 53. What is the Chitty? Route 53. So in Route 53, we need to go and do the mapping. I'll show you that also, right? I'll show you that also here quickly. See, but in order to do this Route 53 mapping, you need to purchase a domain first. So as I already have a domain, I'll be using that domain. So here, go to Route 53 and then create record, and I call it as DevOps, right? And then alias yes, and we need to put it to application load balancer, and our load balancer is in Mumbai, and this is the load balancer. Let's create a record and view status, and now it is pending. Once it is in sync, now you should be, instead of accessing with the load balancer DNS name, I'll be giving you a nice URL now. Wait, let's wait until this is sync. Are you with me, everyone? You're following? Very good. And do you see this? We have the sync or not? Okay. Now let us go and try with the DevOps dot. Ooh, yeah. Let's go. Fantastic. Try to access. This is the website now. So http://devops.reyazawstrainer.com. So this is how you set up your entire project on serverless completely with ECS and ECR with Fargate. This section is clear, everyone? This section is clear? Fantastic. Let me add one more thing here. See, now, do you see, is it secure or not secure here on top? Secure or not secure? Not secure. Should we make it secure? Is it good to keep it not secure for your real-time production environment? No. For that reason, we need to create a certificate. How to set up a certificate? I'll also show you that immediately now. Right? Task contain containers, Vivek. Okay, so let's go to ACM. ACM is a service where you can go and create a certificate. Let's request a certificate. And I call it as star.reyazawstrainer.com. Click on request. Okay. Now let's go inside it. And you need to create a records. I'm just going like this because you can recheck the recording, how I created a certificate. Now let's wait until this is in this pending validation. Let's wait until this is issued. Do you see it? Now it is issued. So should we go and attach this to the load balancer or not? So which is the entry point of our application? Load balancer. So let's go to, right? Let's go to the load balancer. In this load balancer, do you see this here? Yeah. So we can go ahead and then add a listener here. And do you see? Add listener and go for HTTPS and forward to our target group that we have created. And here you have the certificate. Let's go ahead and then add it. Now you should be able to access our application using HTTPS. Let's try HTTPS://. Wow. Do you see this now? That not secure option is gone or not? And my application is working on completely secure on HTTPS. Super. Clear, everyone? And whatever that we have done here, do you see this? This part is completely done, this project. And now, where is our code? Our code is in GitHub or not, everyone? Where is our code? Our code is in GitHub. Now, see, listen carefully, Chidi. See here, listen carefully. See, listen carefully here. My code is in GitHub. My developer, what he do is, he will be pushing the code to the GitHub. So latest code will be in the GitHub. Yes or no? But my application is running, let's say my version 1 application is running at the moment. Which version? Version 1 is running. So this is the version 1. Reyaz Sheikh, build a blah, 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 everything. Okay? Mr. Reyaz something. But my developer has changed something here. How to do the deployment? So we need to redo this everything here or not? So no need to do the no need to redo everything here, right? Simply, we have this image, right? In ECR, we have the image with version 1 image. Simply what we need to do is, we need to push a latest image which contains version 2 application. And then with that image, version 2 image, automatically containers should be get created. The old container should be get deleted, new container should be created, and the customer should be able to access the new containers. How do we do this automatically? Using called CI/CD pipeline. Using what? CI/CD. Continuous integration. So we are integrating GitHub, secret manager, ECR, ECS, everything we are integrating, right? So that is called integration in nutshell, right? And continuous deployment. Deployment meaning your latest application will be deployed everything over here. Are you now ready, interested to see how do we do it automatically deployment now using CI/CD with AWS services? Okay, for that what we do is, first thing foremost, we need to go and create a project in Code Build. So let's go to a service here called Code Pipeline. Open Code Pipeline. Okay, open Code Pipeline. And here, what you need to do is, you need to create a build project first. So here, let's go to the build project. Create a project, because why you need to create a build project Chiti here? Because we need to get this version 2 image. We need to create a version 2 image automatically. That meaning the code should be taken from GitHub automatically, and then you need to run, you need to, using Docker file, you need to create a, you need to build an image, and that image should go and sit in the ECR. Yes or no? This has to be done automatically or not. So to do this, we have the code build, which will fetch the data from GitHub and build it and put it into the ECR registry. So let us go and create that build project first. Let us go and create a build project. So here you can give the project name, call it as a website project. You can give any name. Okay, see, where is your code? Everyone online? Where is your code? Answer me. Where is your code? GitHub. Fantastic. So GitHub, so select here and select the GitHub. But you can get the code from anywhere. If you have S3 also, upload the code there also. You can fetch it from S3. If you don't want GitHub, you can keep it in S3 also. You can go with the code commit also. You can go with the GitHub, Bitbucket, whichever you want. So let's go with the GitHub for now. And here you have something called, I have already created a secret manager secret for it. So if you click on this, manage this one. Should I show you, disconnect and show you how to do it again, so that it will be helpful for you? So I'll disconnect it completely, right? So I disconnected completely. I closed it, and do you see you have not connected to the GitHub? So how do we connect? So this will be like this for you. So how do you connect? How do you connect? Click on manage default source credentials. And then you can either go with the GitHub app. So I have connected so many times, but I want to show you with the secret manager, which is a very powerful service in AWS. So go for personal access token. So you need to connect to the GitHub to get the data. For that reason, in GitHub, you need to create something called token. How to create the token? Go to settings here and go to developer settings. And here go to personal access tokens, and here generated token. Token, call it as AWS GitHub. You can give any name. I'm just going GitHub, AWS GitHub token, something. And then I want to expire this for 7 days because I don't want this later. So whatever you want, you can just go ahead and then select all these things and generate the token. And you got the token, right? Copy this. And then, do you see this? Secret manager, new secret, secret name. I call it as GitHub token. And then this token, you put it here and save. Once you click on save and go here, do you see? Now it is successfully connected through secret manager. Is this clear, Nana? So after that, what we need to give the repository details or not? So how to give the repository details? So you have the repository details, right? So here, go here and then copy this URL and then paste it here. Okay, listen carefully. And then there is an option called webhook. That meaning whenever the code changed, whenever the code changed in your GitHub, automatically this code build should trigger or not to create a new image. For that reason here, rebuild, webhook is rebuild, single is fine. And then whenever someone push the code, do you see here? Push the code. And then keep everything, all these things default. Guys, before this, you need to create a role. Okay, before doing this project, you need to create a role. Okay, hold on. Okay, so for that, you need to create a role. Somewhere we have opened, right? Guys, what is the purpose of the role here? This code build need to push the code to ECR, right? By default, two services will not talk to each other in AWS. For that reason, you need to give the permission to the, right? You need to give the permission to the code build, you need to give the permission to the code build to access our ECR. You understand? So for that reason, let us go to roles and create a role. And to whom you're attaching the role? Code build. Okay. And what kind of permissions that you are giving here? So do you remember? Anyone? Anyone? Okay, I'll tell you. So here we have something called EC2 container registry. You are giving to full access. Very good. And also you need to give the secret manager because we are using secret manager also, right? So you need to give the secret manager. These three things you need to give. So I call this as code build workshop role. Nice. And simply create role. And what is that role? Code build workshop role. Do you see this? And I take the ARN of this role and then put it where in the code build, this role name, existing service role, and I'm putting it here. So I need to refresh it. If I refresh, everything is gone, but no problem. Because first we need to create a role and then go it. Okay, I'll do it one again. Website. So I connected to here GitHub. It's already connected. Copy it. Build it here. Webhooks. And whenever someone push and existing role. And do you see this here? Code build workshop role is there. Select that. And we need to tell to code build to build our image. For that, we need to have something called build spec file. So I already created build spec file for you already. So what you need to do is, you just need to copy this build file. So guys, in this build file, excuse me, you have account ID, that is my AWS account ID. Repository in ECR, we have created something called website repository, and the container name that we have created as website, and the cluster name we have created as demo cluster, in which region. So what this is doing, it doing pre-build, that meaning first remember we have done manually, right, to push to ECR while learning Docker. So this one will be done automatically. First login will happen, and then Docker build will happen, and then Docker push. That meaning in ECR, we'll get this. In ECR, we'll get the latest data using this build spec. So just go ahead and put it here. Right, Anna? And then artifacts, if you want logs, put it. And I'm just going in, create build project. See, build project got created. And then in ECR, do you see this? Only one latest image is there. Yes or no? Now what I do, I go and start the build. I'll test it whether my build is working or not. Guys, generally you do this in Jenkins, but I'm not touching Jenkins here. See, everything I'm doing with the code build here. See, let's see whether build is happening properly or not. See. So what this build will do, using the build spec that we have created, and you see automatically it will build, and then it will push my latest image to the. Do you see build is succeeded or not? If I go to ECR and I should have how many images? 2 images. Do you see my latest image is available now? Fantastic. So now using code build, we have built it, we made it automatically. Now what we need to do? We need to create a code pipeline. So go here. Once we create a build project, after that we need to create a code pipeline. Listen carefully, it's very simple. Create pipeline, give the name, call it as workshop pipeline. Select all these things, default is fine. Click on next. What is our source provider here? Anyone? Where is our code? GitHub. Fantastic. So I'll go with the version 2. And the connection, So I already made a connection, but if you don't have connection, click on connect to GitHub and just follow the process. Automatically will get connected. Okay, let's connect. I'll show you. Connection name, I call it as workshop. Connect to GitHub. I'll show you that also to you. Right? Install new app. So it has now connected to our GitHub, and here I'm giving all repositories. Click on save and install. Okay, so which one you can give only for workshop? Yes. So if I cancel it, it says it's already installed, right? So okay, let's select this. Okay, so GitHub connection is ready for use. And then here I go for which one? Because this is a place where I have the code workshop and our branch is default. Here I select no filter, click on next. So what is a build provider? Instead of Jenkins, I'm just going for code build. Right, code build, fantastic. And this is a project name in code build that we have created. Click on next. And where you want to deploy? In ECS, because we have the containers, yes, in ECS. Very good response, guys, everyone. In ECS, we have demo cluster and we have service name called this. And here, which contains the information in our build spec, here we have image definitions. This will contain our information. You just need to go ahead and then put it here. Click on next, and that's it. Click on create pipeline. See, now what will happen once you click on create pipeline? If everything is good, so automatically it will, do you see the source? It's in progress. So it will get the code from, guys, it will get the code from GitHub. Once this is succeeded, then it will build automatically. Then it will go ahead and then deploy. Let's see. Do you see source code got succeeded? And now it is building. So in that build, code build, we have build spec, right? That build spec will get executed and it will create a new image for us. And using that new image in ECS, it will go and deploy the new containers. Let's wait. So this will take a couple of minutes. But is it clear, guys, everyone? Okay, do you see? Build is also done. And then do you see this? It is in progress now. Any questions meanwhile? Now what I do, guys, what I do? Simply, I go to, okay, I should have succeeded first, then only I can move. See, guys, here, this ECS, this deploy task will take time because in ECS, if you go to cluster, in task, the old one, do you see this here? New it is provisioning. Old one got terminated or not? Old one got stopped. See, old one got stopped. So see, old one got stopped and new one is getting coming up. See, so that meaning the old one will get, the old containers will, old task will get removed and the new task will get created automatically. For that, this will take time. That's why it is in progress. The only thing that we need to do is now, I'll give, after this is succeeded, I'll just modify the code in GitHub. Automatically, code will pick up that the code has been changed and code build will run. And again, my ECS, it will go and deploy the latest application in the task. That I'll show you the last thing that in the project now. So the only thing pending here now. I should really appreciate all you guys taking time and joining this. And because as this is project, and I told you very nicely and very softly, one by one, step by step, I gave you basic knowledge also on the Docker and rest everything. A project also I explained. So that's the reason why it took a little bit more time. I hope you don't mind taking this much time. Hmm? Yeah. Everyone follows the same process in the real time. This is a real time thing only. 100% you can add this project in your resume. It will be beautiful. And now you tell me, guys, still class is there. Just few more minutes, right? Few more minutes. Few more minutes. Hold on. What is it? There is not any impact on the client. No, you have the URL running with you, right? Open this. See, I'm refreshing it. Is there an impact on my client? Right? There's no impact, right? No impact at all. Thank you for so many wonderful feedbacks. Yes, in Jenkins. Do you see this, guys? Now, do you see? Now it is succeeded. Now I'll tell you the last thing here, which is how to deploy the latest application automatically. See here, go to our GitHub in index.html. Assume that developer has pushed a new code. I'm just changing something here. Let's say, for example, instead of saying here Reyaz, I call it as edit it. The last thing I want to show you here. Instead of say Mr. Reyaz, I call it as changes to Reyaz Sheikh. And you also know, right? People call me AWS doctor. Yes or no? Yeah, my students know this already, right? So here I'm just putting here and then just go ahead and then commit the changes. See, once I commit, immediately what will happen? See, now it is succeeded, right? Let's see, automatically this code pipeline will get triggered. Automatically triggered, see. Do you see? Just now it succeeded. Now again it is what is doing? It is building. Do you see this? It's automatic. This is called CI/CD. Continuously it is getting integrated from GitHub to your build to ECR and continuously deploying on the task, right? Continuously deploying on the ECS. Let's see the last thing here. Let's see the last thing. It says in progress. This will also get succeeded if everything is smooth. Oh, do you see? It's also succeeded. And now it is deploying. So this is now deploying. Let's wait a minute. Same process. Application can be changed. Fanindra. Same process. I took a sample HTML page. So HTML website. So it can be your Java, Python, everything. Because end of the day, your application will be running on the container. So do you see it here? So it is provisioning and it is activating already. And meanwhile, do you see my application? Do I have any downtime? See, I refresh it. See, no downtime. No downtime. It still says Mr. Reyaz. And let's see, our cluster is activated running. So now it is running and I go here and then refresh. and refresh. Whoa, do you see this here? My application got updated without any downtime. Without any downtime. And with congratulations, you have successfully completed building a serverless application in AWS with DevOps and completely serverless using CI/CD pipeline. Right? How is the project? Wow, what a fantastic responses. Everyone? Yes. This is your project. This is the one which I have promised to do on this workshop. And any questions? It will go to Rashid, it will go to ECR. Do you see? If you go to ECR, and previously it was 2, right? Now it should be C. How many are there? So these many times we have build it. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this workshop. Just to let you know that tomorrow, Monday, I'm starting a new batch on AWS with DevOps at 7:30 p.m. So if you are interested, please get in touch with the admin here, Arif. He is putting the messages in the chat continuously. So please, and those who are already my previous students, just let others know about this, and then we will be rocking that there. Great. So can you give me the final CC for this workshop? CC with smile. CC represents crystal clear. So that is all for this wonderful, wonderful workshop. And thank you for taking time and joining this workshop. So many people joined, and thank you for your patience. And if you're really interested, I request you to connect with the admins in Naresh IT to join this, to join my course. And it's my pleasure to share my knowledge with you. And definitely, we will all be meeting in one day in my class. Thank you. Thank you very much. And have a nice day. And keep smiling. And bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.